I have no idea what I'm doing. Some of you probably feel this way right now. Life is a complex maze and it's easy to get turned around. And even if by some miracle you find your way out of the maze, more often than not, we come out of it with more questions than answers. Am I doing enough? Is this what I'm meant to do? What do I do now? Am I good enough? I have no idea what I'm doing. So, where does that leave us? The truth is, I have no clue if I'm making the right choices in life. There's no punchline there. I really don't know. But here's the thing. I'm not going to let a little thing like not knowing something stand in my way. And neither should you. Over the years, I struggled to overcome my shortcomings and keep up with my peers. So much so, in fact, that I decided I had to shake things up in a big way in order to change my life for good. What I discovered on this journey was a process that not only helped me to make up for lost time, but also pushed me ahead in a way that I never imagined was possible. You know, in order to make progress in your life, you have to begin by reframing the obstacles in your way. Clearly, this is very cliche, but that doesn't take away from the fact that most people just won't do it. When I was in college, I struggled my way through the entire process, and after changing my major twice, I finally graduated with 2.56 GPA all the way back in 2012. Now, in case our memories are a little shorter, the 2012 job market was grim to say the least, and my abysmal GPA didn't help matters. I couldn't even join the active duty military because there was a nationwide drawdown on the horizon. So there I sat, with nothing but a worthless piece of expensive paper and no future career in sight. But this is where I discovered the first step to working my way through life's problems. Instead of sulking on that couch and feeling sorry for myself yet again, I said to myself, how can I? The job market sucks, my GPA sucks, and I have no connection or real world exposure. How can I overcome this problem? This is what you have to ask yourself when you're faced with a tough situation. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you've been given a tough assignment at work, or perhaps you're trying to figure out how to carve out more time to devote to your family. These three little words are a tool that you can use. Now for me, these three words led me to an Army National Guard recruiting office. Now, before you click off, this is not, I repeat, is not a recruiting video. I don't think the military, or college for that matter, is for everyone. But for me, it's what I needed to fix my mental and physical barriers. Throughout your life, you have been conditioned to give up at the first sign of resistance. How can I is the first step to training your mind to look for ways to work through the problem. Keep in mind that how can I? It's just a primer to get you pointed in the right direction. It's not going to be enough to completely solve your problem. It feels like my entire professional career has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. I'm sure many of you can relate. In my early career as an engineer, one thing I struggled with was passing the Fundamentals of Engineering exam. Now, this exam was the first step towards obtaining my professional engineering license down the road. There was just one teeny tiny problem. I barely graduated college in the first place, so as a result, I failed that exam 3 times in a row. What resulted was I was demoted and lost my title as an engineer. Now, instead of fixating on the negative outcome of losing my title, I looked around and said, well, how can I turn this around? I mean, surely there are plenty of successful people in this company without engineering degrees, right? What I needed was validation that this could be done. Finding proof of concept is not only critical to pointing you in the right direction, but also gives a much needed morale boost. I cannot overstate enough just how important this step is and how easy it is to move past it and just dismiss it as a waste of time. When faced with a tough problem, first you need to ask yourself, how can I? Then you need to find validation that the thing you need to overcome can in fact be overcome. So if you stuck it out and made it this far, then give yourself a well-deserved pat on the back. You've earned it. But we're not out of the woods yet. Proving to yourself that you could do something is only part of the battle. What comes next is going to require some legwork on your part. During your search for validation, you should be taking notes. To solve your problem, you're going to need data, and lots of it. Collect as much as you can and organize it to the best of your ability. Granted, this is easier said than done. It's too easy to go down a rabbit hole and get stuck in an endless loop of analysis paralysis. I used to see this all the time as my former life as an engineer and project manager. Without fail, People with multiple degrees and academic accolades will spend days or weeks trying to find the perfect solution to a problem. This is an absolute waste of time. Having all that data is great, but what's even better is knowing what to do with it. This is a skill that's tough to learn in a classroom environment. Now, if I were to ask your typically overly educated engineer to fasten together these two pieces of wood with the materials in front of them, they'd break out the measuring tools, look up the tensile strength of the fasteners, make a spreadsheet, and verify all this data against their pocket reference guidebook. That's a way to do it, or you could eliminate all the obvious components that won't work and you're left with the correct answer in a couple of seconds. Data is important. But what's equally as important is knowing what to throw out so that you can focus on what actually matters. Instead of searching for the perfect solution within vast quantities of data, get rid of the excess and move on to the final step. In the military, when you take command of a unit, you're supposed to conduct counselings with your subordinates. These counselings are usually done on paper and lay out exactly what your expectations are as their commander. I expected a lot from my platoon leaders, but out of everything listed on that counseling, the key takeaway was this. The absolute worst thing that you could do is not that you make a mistake, it's that you do nothing at all. What good is a plan that accounts for 100% of the possible outcomes if it never gets a chance for execution? The world is a dynamic and rapidly evolving place. There is no time to plan out every single minute detail. Now, am I telling you that you should never plan at all? No, of course not. I'm not saying that at all. I plan for the worst all the time. But what I don't do is get bogged down in all the tiny details that aren't critical to mission success. Think about it like this. Without fail, every single year you promise yourself that this is the year that you get yourself back into shape. And without fail, you quit on yourself or worse, never took any action in the first place. Why? Is it because you're lazy or not motivated? Maybe. But what's more often the case is that we get bogged down with searching for the perfect workout program, the perfect diet, and the perfect app to track it all. Now, obviously, having a good program to follow, a balanced diet, and tracking your progress is necessary to achieving workout gains. But being too stuck to move forward and take action is clearly counterproductive. Execution is the great equalizer between those who are going to do something someday and those who do something today. Plenty of people smarter than us accomplish things that we can only dream of. Maybe they had an unearned unfair advantage or were just born privileged. Regardless of their circumstances, this does not mean that you are less capable. By all accounts, I shouldn't even be here today. I have never been the smartest, fastest, or most talented. Perhaps you aren't either, and that's okay. You don't have to have the answers to all of life's questions, but you do need the right set of tools to work your way through your problems. Trust me, if this guy with his 2.56 engineering GPA who was too stupid to pass a test and lost his title as an engineer and has the inability to say the word ask correctly can make his way in this world, what's stopping you? Now, with all that said, I still don't know what I'm doing or how I fit into this world, but I'm not going to let that stop me from finding my place in it. And truthfully, neither should you.